With last week featuring International Women's Day, and this being Sleep Awareness Week, I wanted to take a few moments for today's Wellbeing Wednesday to highlight the importance of sleep, specifically for women and women's health. Now, don't click off here, the gentleman watching, because I'm sure there are also women in your life that would be helpful to understand about their sleep as well. And what we do know in general is that for women, typically about 2/3 of women are not getting the appropriate amount of sleep that their bodies and minds need for full physical and psychological repair. Even though research shows that women traditionally may get about 11 minutes more a night than men, we see that their sleep is much more fragmented and disrupted. And many times, what plays a role in that is going to be the hormonal changes that happen monthly as well as across the course of their lives. We see that sleep problems in general tend to affect women more prevalently than we're going to see it in men, and many times it's going to be underdiagnosed. Sleep apnea, for instance, is one of the sleep disorders that many times are underdiagnosed in women because while typically snoring is used as an indicator, women oftentimes will experience sleep apnea even without the snoring. We may instead see other general symptoms such as the insomnia, anxiety, and other related components that can still be indicators that potentially sleep apnea is existing. So it's still going to be important that if you're finding that you're sleeping through the night, but you're waking up and you're still feeling exhausted even after getting an adequate night's rest, that there could be other indicators that your body's not being able to get the full restorative sleep just because we're asleep. And we do know that we see this in men and women where if we're using things like substances to fall asleep, that just because we're sedated does not mean that we're getting quality sleep. We also see certain experiences such as restless leg syndrome that women are twice as likely to experience than men, and we see this also with hormonal changes as iron levels are shifting and adjusting. And additionally, with just general insomnia, women are 40% more likely to experience insomnia, which can be that difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep, waking up earlier in the morning without being able to fall back to sleep. And again, much of this can be connected as we see with the hormonal changes that women typically are experiencing, whether it's going to be PMS and PMDD. Women are commonly reporting difficulty sleeping with this. Nearly 7 out of 10 women, over 70% of women that are experiencing these symptoms are reporting insomnia and difficulty sleeping. We see through pregnancy, especially in the third trimester, significant sleep disruptions. We can see this with perimenopause and menopause, and we also will see this with chronic pain. We see that for a lot of women that are experiencing chronic pain, that we see significant disruptions in their sleep as well. Additionally, looking at shift work and a lot of the women that are working in shift work positions, we can see not only impacts physically and cardiovascular health, but also disruptions in sleep having impacts on irregular periods and such as well. So there's much here for women to be thinking about as their sleep is being disrupted, that it's not just that you have to push through it, but that there are different strategies like having the consistent sleep schedules as best as possible, not extending the time in bed when we haven't gotten the quality sleep, thinking that we can just catch up later on with it, being cautious about relying on caffeine to stay awake or having a few drinks to try to fall asleep and relax, as well as many of the other strategies we've discussed on here about being able to shut off our brains to be able to truly be able to rest and relax, and putting together that strong wind down routine at night to give our brains that time to decompress. Additionally, from a childcare standpoint, really relying on a significant other and a partner when possible to be able to share some of those responsibilities so that there's less sleep disruption throughout the course of the night. Be well.